Greetings to the Writers Guild. I'm honored to be here tonight to have the opportunity to introduce this year's recipient of the Laurel Award for Screenwriting Achievement. As you know, this award is given for the achievement and advancement of literature through motion pictures and for outstanding contributions to the profession of screenwriter. This year, the award goes to my good friend, Walter Hill. Multiple books and articles have been written about Walter, especially in the last 10 years, and especially in Europe. His screenplays are now studied in major universities around the world, which brings me to the problem of trying to adequately sum up this person I've known and been friends with for over 50 years. We first met on the set of What's Up, Doc? In the summer of 1971. He was writing the screenplay for The Getaway for Steve McQueen. But I really got to know him when I became the associate producer on the second film he wrote and directed, The Driver, and on his third film, The Warriors, which he co-wrote and directed, and I was the executive producer. Thank you. Thank you, Kath. Since then, we've maintained a friendship bound together with jokes, arguments about sports, movie gossip, lunches and dinners, where alcohol was occasionally served. Walter and the late David Giler, his producing business and often writing partner, were seemingly inseparable. Having dinner with them was a laugh a minute. The humor could be elegant or low, but met the definition of real comedy. They made you laugh. Okay, now back to the advancement of literature. Walter's scripts are well known for their leanness, spare descriptions, laconic dialogue, and characters usually caught in extremely tough physical situations. His gruff exterior is legendary, but in reality, he's just a big sports-loving teddy bear. His good humor masks a dark and often tragic vision. But what can I say? The man's a writer. And I give you Walter Hill.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks to the Guild. I want to start off, they asked me to speak for 3 to 5 minutes, which is tough on you guys. But I did want to say off book here. In coming here, it reminded me, I'm not getting around quite as well as I used to, and I couldn't march during the strike. I first marched in 1973, that strike, and I've always been very proud to be in this guild. When I went in, it made me feel legitimate, and I thought maybe I could make a living. So anyway, you get to be an old guy, they tend to give you some awards if you can last long enough. And I always wanted to start off by saying, where were you when I needed you? But anyway, thank you. You'll forgive me if I'm a bit overwhelmed. The names of the previous recipients is more than daunting. First, my thanks to my peers and co-conspirators here at the Guild. My thanks to my family, Hildy, our daughters, Joe and Miranda, their husbands, Nick and Brandon, who are both members of our Guild, I'm pleased to say. Thanks to the many writers I've worked with over the years. None of us do this alone. I especially want to thank and mention Larry Gross, Lucas Heller, Kenny Friedman, Troy Kennedy Martin, Ron Parker, Gordon Newman, and of course my friend and partner, David Giler, who has moved on to the next world, but I miss on a daily basis. I'd also like to thank Quentin Tarantino, who has written very kindly about my efforts in the last few years. Okay, I'm going to stop thanking people. I think it was James Thurber who said that writing is the only profession where you could be staring out the window thinking about baseball or old girlfriends, and if interrupted, you could claim to have been working. This is true, and I have taken full advantage. At risk of spoiling the party, I've been asked to say something about my own journey in screenwriting itself. By the way, you were probably looking at the last recipient of this award who still writes in longhand. My story in Hollywood, I'll keep it brief. I fell off the turnip truck in the mid-'60s, just out of school. I had failed the Army physical. Always had the idea I was a writer, but for the next 3 or 4 years, couldn't seem to finish the script. Many abandonments, but I was lucky. I had the opportunity to learn from my failures and finally disciplined myself, and soon after fortune smiled, I began to get the scripts sold and made. However, as we all know with screenwriting, frustration and rejection are part of the deal. For every script I've written that's been made into a film, there are several others that didn't get to the starting line. This is far from unique. We all pay our dues. The craft demands persistence. I write a few hours nearly every day. Clarity of expression, brevity of presentation, those virtues are only honed by the practice of doing. I still find everything about creating narrative, character, thematics a brutal challenge, but I'm brave. But the calling has its demands. The life and working conditions of being a screenwriter have changed tremendously during my career, not all for the better, but I do believe this. The job we do is more appreciated than ever before. It's now commonly understood that you don't make a better movie than your screenplay. Simple as that. My mother, a saint, once asked me why I couldn't write Cary Grant movies. She said my brother and my father liked these rough and tumble things that I had become identified with, but she'd like to see something softer and more romantic. I'm all for a pluralistic cinema, but I told her I just didn't work that end of the street, and I doubted if I'd be any good at it. But this is more than just a personal anecdote. I believe we all have a path, and we become uniquely valuable only when finding it with our own voice, then following where it leads. None of us know where we're going, but that's the part of the journey that becomes the most interesting. Lastly, I believe when you tell a story, always trust instinct and discovery over invention. At least that works better for me. Many thanks for this award. Gratefully accepted, deeply appreciated. Thank you.